Hey babes, and welcome to my first attempt at a bartending video. For those that don't know, my name is Tatiana, I'm a bartender from the UK, and I have a huge passion for cocktails. I'm going to start making these videos on individual cocktails, explaining how to make them, the history behind them, and variations on classic recipes. All hopefully with the goal of teaching you new recipes and encouraging you to create your own. Today I want to go through the very well-known Espresso Martini. I'll first go through the very basic recipe if you're just here to learn that. Then later on, I'll go through where it's come from and some additional recipes that you might want to know. First thing you'll need is a cocktail shaker and a martini glass to serve. Optionally, you could serve it in a coupe glass, which I actually prefer for drinks like this, but for today I'm gonna go traditional. You could also serve it in any damn glass you want, I'm not your mum. First thing, take your shaker and you're gonna need 35 milliliters of vodka. Now today I'm gonna use Torovich, which is a Russian import. It's an extremely nice vodka from Russia. It's won countless awards, and I do highly recommend it. But you can use literally any vodka for this. Except for Sainsbury's own vodka, I'm pretty sure that stuff can actually kill you. 25 milliliters of Kahlua or coffee liqueur of your choice. Tia Maria is a good alternative and is one that's used in restaurants quite a lot. Then you're going to need a shot of espresso. That's a coffee shot, which is normally between 35 and 45 milliliters. I'm just going to use 50 because I quite like coffee and it's easier for me to measure. Now, if you have your own espresso maker, then wow, hello rich boy. Otherwise, I'm using espresso concentrate cold brew, which is literally just cold espresso shots. Purchase this online. Oh, okay, that might be quite strong actually. Then you're going to want to add 5 milliliters of sugar syrup. This is just a 2-to-1. This is technically optional and does depend on the guest. They may prefer coffee a little bit more bitter, but if your only experience is like restaurant espresso martinis, then you'll probably want to add the sugar, as all restaurants will add sugar syrup by default. It can also depend on the strength of your espresso. That was the hard part done. Now just add ice and shake. After 8 seconds of a good hard shake, use a Hawthorne and fine strainer to pour into your martini glass. You should get a nice foam on top. If not, it's either because your espresso mix has too much water in it, or you haven't shaken it hard enough with enough ice. To garnish, add 3 beans on top. Never more, never less. Each bean has a meaning. You've got health, wealth, and happiness, I believe. Each bean has a meaning: health, wealth, and happiness, and if they fall upside down, they mean the opposite. And that is it for the first recipe. If you were just here for that, then I hope it helped. Otherwise, let's go on to some other recipes, as well as my own simple twist on espresso martinis that I think just make it much better. Just as a side note to regular espresso martinis, one secret you might not know: if you're making this and you're wondering why it doesn't taste like the ones you've had at restaurants before, it might be because a lot of places like to add either vanilla vodka or vanilla sugar syrup. This is because it does sweeten up the cocktail and can make it a bit more palatable and attractive to more casual drinkers, which for a business is quite important. If you don't like the original, maybe swap it out and give it a go. Espresso martinis are a relatively new creation from 1983, created by Dick Bredsell in the Soho Barisserie in London, one of those stupidly fancy places that I would probably kill a man to get a job in. The story goes that a huge model at the time came into the bar and asked for a drink that would both wake her up and fuck her up. Who was this model? Well, Dick Bradsell likes to say that it's still confidential, as all good bartenders should be, which basically means the story's probably not true, like all bar stories. But it's still a good story, so that's what it is. Most cocktails are just variations on older cocktails that bartenders created just by being creative one day. It doesn't really matter if a couple of the creation story details are a little fraudulent. That first cocktail he called a vodka espresso, which was served with ice and contained both Kahlua and Tia Maria. I've made this one with just Kahlua because I'm not buying Tia Maria for like 10 mils of it. The measurements are 50 milliliters of vodka, 45 milliliters of espresso, 20 milliliters of Kahlua, and 5 milliliters of sugar. In the 90s, during the Neo-Martini craze, it was modified into the Espresso Martini. A few years later, in 1998, Dick, at his new bar job, the Pharmacy restaurant in Notting Hill, he renamed his drink to the Pharmaceutical Stimulant, served with ice in either an old-fashioned glass or a medical cup. If you work at a bar willing to stock medical cups for one drink, good on you. This version had a much higher focus on vodka, and by that I mean 60 mils of vodka, 15 mils of Kahlua, a little sweeter with 7.5 mils of sugar syrup, and a 45 ml of espresso. Dick Bradsell passed away in 2016. And left behind a legacy of much more than the Espresso Martini. But it's fair to say, out of all his cocktails, if you went into a bar or restaurant, you'll likely see this on the menu. The giant that this cocktail is, it's no surprise people have modified it and come up with their own twists. I'm going to show you an interesting one I found, and one I've come up with myself.
It's an illusion.
The Irish Espresso-Tini. What a name. A simple drink though. 60 mils of Irish cream liqueur, Baileys, 37 milliliters of vanilla vodka, and 37 milliliters of espresso. Shake it up and you've got an attractively white cream cocktail. Fun fact too, this is about 100 calories more than a regular espresso martini, and I haven't even added sugar to this. So it's perfect for your mother. To be honest, I'm just happy to use this up. I mean, I hate vanilla vodka. Have you ever tried to shot this? Don't. I will say though, for a cocktail that looks like it's just a glass of milk, this is deceptively sharp. You can definitely tell it's got a lot of vodka and a lot of, well, you know, this is whiskey and cream. Now for my little addition, this is really simple. It's something I discovered while at the bar I work. We tend to pre-mix bottle a few of the alcohols together. So for example, the vodka and the Tia Maria will be mixed together in one bottle for an espresso martini, and then the espresso will be in another bottle. I also happen to add the sugar to that alcohol bottle to simplify the whole process. But on one day I actually had no sugar syrup, but I did have a lot of, at the time, what was useless agave syrup. Agave is a plant which is used in things like tequila, but it is a sugary sweetener, so I thought, what the heck, let's give it a go. And I gave it a go. And wow, it's good. Let me tell you, I tend to use agave in my coffee now, just because I love this taste so much. I'm going to make the recipe I make at work, but this could easily be scaled up to a bit of a bigger drink. I'm going to do a 50ml shot of espresso. I'm going to do a 25ml shot of vodka. This again would be a much cheaper vodka than what I'm using here. 25 mils of, this would be Tia Maria in pretty much every restaurant. And then as much as it's kind of against the, I guess the spirit of an espresso martini, I like to do 15 mils of agave syrup. Now, agave isn't technically as sugary as sugar syrup, because sugar syrup is literally just sugar, but it is still quite sweet. So it's going to be a sweeter cocktail. And there you go. It's pretty much exactly a basic espresso martini. It's what's generally known as an equal ratio espresso martini, and it's the recipe that's mostly used at bars and restaurants. However, agave syrup to me just balances the whole thing perfectly. The bitterness of the coffee and the sweetness of the agave is perfect together, but give it a try yourself and tell me what you think of it. Now for this last part of the video, I'm just going to go off script, and I just want to give it a go at making something, literally just what I've got under my shelves here. See what I've got and just make something random. It might be terrible, it might be nice, we're going to see what happens. Now, there is already an espresso martini variant called a Gillesco Espresso, which is a tequila-based Espresso Martini. I think it uses tequila instead of the vodka. However, I have a tiny little bit of mezcal left over in my stock, and I love mezcal. It's such an underrated alcohol, and if I use up this last bit, I can justify buying myself a new bottle. I'm also going to use the agave syrup, which mezcal is made of, so it's going to be 2 agave things. It's going to be a very agave-y themed thing. Now, in terms of ratios of this, mezcal's very strong. Not in terms of alcohol, but in terms of just its flavour. It, to put it lightly, tastes like ash. 35-ish mils to 25-ish mils, or something like that. I'm not going to measure this accurately, I'm just going to give it a go. Yeah, 20 mils of that. A little bit more than 10 mils of this. And then we're going to go for a nice balanced 50 mils of espresso. Always prep your glass first. Alright, let's give this a taste. Cheers! Ooh. It's unusual, but not terrible. Not actually too bad. I think someone smarter than me could probably balance this a lot better, but that's not half bad. Mainly because I like mezcal, but that's not too bad. Alright, thank you babes for watching. I hope this video either helped you learn a new recipe, or it's inspired you to have a go at some of these other recipes. I'm going to try and make more videos on each of these cocktails. If you'd like to see me go through one of your favourite cocktails or something like that, go through the history of it, show you some different recipes, show you how I want to make it, let me know. Let me know down in the comments. And, you know, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you do. Alright. See ya.